What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/TalesFromRetail. This story's called The Poultry Catastrophe. So I used to work in a grocery store in my town, and I have collected quite a few stories from there and my time abroad, and I have finally convened on this location to share one of my plethora of memories. Depending on how this post is received, I may pump more experiences out here, so I hope you guys enjoy. Now, I think many of us enjoy a good meme here and there, a funny joke, etc. I, for one, enjoy humor and employ it as a method to both ease my tension and hopefully entertain the customer of which I was scanning out the checkout line. It was a week before Thanksgiving, and I'm sure many retail workers know firsthand how chaotic that time can be, and so jokes were much more prevalent. While I was checking out, my supervisor hands me a frozen turkey, stating that it needs to go back to the meat department and that she'd take over for me while I go personally deliver it. This is routine, and I thought nothing of it, so I accepted and head towards the meat department. I arrive at the frozen turkey selection and place a turkey down within the freezer. It is then when a friendly old lady walked up to me and asked, "Excuse me, OP, do these turkeys get any bigger?" Remembering a certain meme I had found, I chuckle and say, "No ma'am, they're dead." She laughs wholeheartedly along with me, and I tell her I'll check with the meat department since I'm only a cashier and they'd have a larger turkey for her. She thanks me and I meet with the meat manager in their cooler and tell him about the customer. I then retire back to my post on the checkout line. Now, after this, I hadn't thought anything of this little interaction. I would have forgotten about it altogether if it wasn't for my manager calling me to her office to talk to me. Apparently, my joke had gotten a complaint from a customer. The customer had told my manager that my joke about dead turkeys was insensitive toward the animal, and that I wouldn't be making those jokes about people, so why should I with turkeys? I totally would, by the way. We both agree that it was kinda stupid, that I shouldn't have done it, but she did find the joke funny, so I think I got off easy with that one. Now, a few hours have gone by, and I'm on self-checkout when a lady approaches. At first, she didn't look out of the ordinary from her leather purse, fur coat, and overall Karen-esque appearance, and I met her with my usual cheerfulness. "Hello, my name is OP. How may I help you?" I asked. The lady reveals herself as the filer of the complaint, stating that I should have been fired for what I said. I accidentally let out a little chuckle and said, "So that was you." Everything had made sense to me at that point. The lady had overheard my joke with the older lady and had taken offense to it. She begins to berate me, saying that if someone were to joke about my death, I wouldn't take too kindly to it. I politely retort, "Ma'am, I wouldn't mind because I'd be dead." And she starts fuming. I know I was stirring a hornet's nest, but man, I was having fun. However, not even Nostradamus couldn't predict what this lady was about to do. With a smug confidence, she got in my face and said, "Would you kill me if I was a turkey?" She then starts doing chicken motions and making chicken noises at me, and I couldn't help myself. I start laughing, and oh man, it was not a gentle laugh either. My sides began to hurt, but I couldn't help myself. This Karen just looked so stupid. From the other self-checkout kiosks, I could see customers stifling giggles and pointing towards the chicken Karen. I will call her Choco Karen because I want to play too much Final Fantasy, and chocobos are like chickens. Now finished with her poultry outburst, repeated her question. "If I was a turkey, would you kill me?" While I was enjoying this tirade, all good things must come to an end. So I begrudgingly told her, "Ma'am, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. You're causing a disturbance for the other customers." What I should have expected was her following wrath, but alas, I did not. How could a woman who had an outburst like that remain calm after being told to leave? Me from the past wasn't that smart. She demanded that I answer her question, and I responded, "No, I wouldn't kill you, but I would call security if you do that again." We did not actually have store security, but it was a little tactic that I would use to intimidate people being rowdy. Frequently, Choco Karen seemed to be deterred, and as she walked towards the door, she began to yell the standard spiel like, "I won't ever shop here again until you get fired." Even called me an animal hater. I have 2 dogs and generally spend more time with people's pets than the people themselves, so that's a lie. I won't forget her last words though. As she walked out the door, she yelled, "Your soul will burn unless you repent, you animal killer!" Now, as my tale comes to a close, I can't help but explain the aftermath. few employees who had heard the incident had told a few more employees, and through word of mouth, within the hour, everyone in the store had known of my encounter with Choka Karen. I would never see Choka Karen again, so she was true to her word, but I would earn a title of Turkey Bastard, which I wore proudly until I finally left that position a couple of years later. Now, as I sit here several years later, recalling the events of this story, which I am sure I may have forgot a few details, I can't help but ask the question, why was someone like Choka Karen in the meat department anyway? I like that. That's funny. Man, that's honestly like one of the first posts I've seen, probably, or the first post I've seen that ends the story with a question like that. It's so funny. Thank you, OP Turkey Bastard. I appreciate your story. That was an enjoyable read. Choka Karen. Fun. And trust me, that one you don't want to ride. This story's called The Curse of the Item on Hold. So, you're a sales clerk working on commission. That's respectable. Admirable, even. Lord knows it takes hustle to earn that paycheck. More power to you. You're a powerhouse! But wait, what's this? A customer approaches. But not just any customer. Well, technically, not yet even a customer. They've got something in their arse, but they don't want it now. They need to think about it. They need to ask their mother for an opinion. They left their wallet in the car. They'd like to shop the rest of the mall first and then return to you at the end of the day. Don't worry though, they parked in the ramp connected to your store, so they're guaranteed to swing through again. What do? You're technically not allowed to put items on hold. Against company policy, they say. Everyone does it though, even the managers that make that claim. Exceptions are made for clients, you know, or have a good feeling about. Plus, this person seems so excited about the item. Surely holding it for them this time would be fine, especially if you let them know that you're technically not supposed to do holds, but you'll make an exception for them. The gratitude! You can see it on their faces plain as day. They feel special. Important. They go about their business, and you tuck it away and mark it as on hold. You feel good. You feel positive. You finally made a sale today. In the future, though, it may be. And the ever-present stress of sell eases off your shoulders just slightly. You breathe. Unbeknownst to you, someone slips through your department during the minutes you're in the back on a mission for this exact item. They don't find it and leave dejected. You re-emerge onto the floor, a renewed confidence in your step. No one else asks you to put anything else on hold. Better than that, you make some sales. Something your eyes unavoidably miss though, the coworker working order fulfillment in the back, searching for the very item you've put on hold. On their screen, it shows that your store has only one in stock, and neither able to find it on the floor nor in the back. They're forced to reject the request. This person has already paid for the item through online ordering. But alas, if it's not there, it's not there. They'll get their refund if no other stores end up having it in stock either. An hour passes, then 2. Your shift is nearing the end and the sun has long since set. The store itself is subtly shifting into end of day mode, and you begin to have doubts. Another hour passes. The store begins to close. A personal stylist swans their way up to your cash wrap, asking if you've seen a specific item. Well, yes, actually, it's the one you put on hold. They glide into the back after it and then whisk it away, destining it to a fitting room for tomorrow, where it will accessorize a curve-fitting Max Mara suit and sleek Manolo Blahnik heels. Blahnik, I know. It's just as well, you think? She'll be the one most likely to make the sale anyway. Sure enough, you never see the customer from earlier again. The next day, a repeat with subtle changes. Another customer, except this time, she'll be back in 10 minutes. You kindly and regretfully inform her that you're not allowed to put anything on hold. She's taken aback. She's a regular customer, she tells you, and she's put things on hold here before. Recently, you fully believe this and delicately explain that the policies have changed. You apologize profusely for it. She is very startled by this newfound knowledge. She buys her $15 hair clips, of which we have over a dozen, and are at no risk of selling out in 10 minutes, and then leaves. The next day, a repeat with more significant changes. Someone wants to buy one of the few designer pieces you have in your department. A Burberry, specifically. More than that, actually. A thick, heavy Burberry cape, that is. In your store, one of a kind. It's priced at over $1,600. It alone will max out your sales numbers for the day, and you succumb once again, agreeing to put it on hold. This woman is waiting for feedback from a friend. It's an investment and she needs a second opinion. Understandable. Surprisingly, she does come back later. Even more surprising, she's in. She wants it. One snag though. You freeze, dread and resignation rising in equal measure, and immediately stop the transaction. A literal snag, going straight up the back a solid 6 inches. You point it out to the customer and her jaw drops. She is incredibly grateful to you for spotting this. An idea does occur to you though. You have an amazing alterations department. You can't make any promises, but they frequently work miracles, and it's possible that they'd be able to fix the snag. Spoiler, they are, and they do. She comes back an hour later, and imperfections vanished, she buys it. You're floating for the rest of the day, from both the praises your service received, and the reprieve from the that's scorched into the deepest recesses of your mind. That's never been your focus. You've never cared about the numbers, and my god, this is a relief. 2 days later, a coworker from a neighboring department sheepishly walks over. She's your friend, and you told her about your dramatic sale. It turns out that someone had come over to do a return with her just a few minutes before, and she, of course, was tasked with bringing the item back to its correct apartment. She hands you your beautifully mended Burberry cape. Your heart sinks. You don't put things on hold anymore. This is actually, I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've read a second person story on Reddit, actually. It's a good one though. Poor dude. That just seems like a lot of crap to go through for absolutely nothing. When a customer makes a return, do you lose your commission for that sale? This story's called Store Gets Backlash for Not Stocking More Halloween Items Before Halloween. Ever wonder why stores always stock up on Halloween items in August and Christmas items in October? It's to intentionally get more customers to buy these items early. They further enforce this by not stocking up on more seasonal items as it gets closer to that holiday. Halloween seems to be notorious for this, as was my experience when I worked for a major retail chain a few years ago. I was hired around Halloween time, so, of course, Halloween items were at peak demand. Contrary to retail's practices, nobody buys Halloween stuff in August. They usually wait until mid-September at the very earliest. Humans are notorious procrastinators and will put off their seasonal shopping until the last minute, expecting they'll get everything they want on or right before October 31st. Our store learned this the hard way. By the end of October, our store was already packed with Christmas items while the Halloween section remained scarce. There wasn't much left besides some home decor, cheap costumes, and a few bags of unpopular candy. My colleagues and I faced more than a few customers getting mad or cussing us out for no longer stocking any more Halloween items. I remember my coworker getting an earful from a lady wanting a brain jello mold and telling her, "Ma'am, we had all these items up since August." I did my best to be polite, of course, but it was still a pain. Thankfully, I didn't work on Halloween night. I can only imagine the horrors of a customer finding a costume at the very last minute. Moral of the story? Artificial scarcity helps no one, especially not the overworked and underpaid employees. Happy Halloween, everyone! Halloween's in freaking 4 or 5 days! Right now, when I record this. This story's called The Piano Incident. I worked as an assistant manager for a thrift store. I was essentially the operations and facility manager, as the store manager was fairly inept in those areas. How he got the store manager job, I'll never know. Anyway, we had a piano that had been donated that had obviously been tipped over, as the sounding board had a giant crack in it. It was an upright piano, but it was older, and you could tell it was monstrously heavy just by looking at it. We kicked around the idea of what to do with it for a couple of weeks when my store manager said load it in our truck and haul it to the dump. We rolled it out back, and there it sat for a week or so while I waited for enough guys to be on shift to help push it up the ramp into the truck. A day before our dumpster pickup, I got to work and saw a utility crew out back doing some street work. I peeked in our dumpster and noted that it wasn't quite half full. Not wanting to waste an opportunity, I walked out to the utility crew and asked them how much weight their skid steer could lift and if they thought it could lift a piano. A few minutes later, they're lifting the piano into the dumpster for me. It fit perfectly. The next day, I just happened to be finishing up loading scrap metal into our metal recycling dumpster when the trash dumpster pickup occurred. I tried to keep my cool and watch out of the corner of my eye. The loader groaned a little over the weight of the dumpster, and when it got to the top dump point, the piano got hung up just a little and needed the shake to dislodge it. The driver saw me and shouted, "What are you ever
in there?
I began making my way to the door and just casually said, "A piano?" He was almost fuming.
How the hell did you get a piano in there?
As I was opening the truck to go back in, I replied, "Just roll it up to the dumpster and lift it," like it was nothing special. I let the door close behind me, but not before seeing the look of astonishment on his face. I think he was too afraid to not empty the dumpster. Maybe he thinks I'm secretly the Hulk or something, but it was one of the best moments of my 4 years there. I love it! Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.